Hey, middle school, Mr. V here. How you doing, guys? Been a while since I made a video. Things have been crazy in the office, but I had a idea for a video and I wanted to bring it to you. I felt like coming into the fourth quarter, this could be a good topic for you, and that topic is testing anxiety. Um, a lot of us get nervous when it comes to tests, right? That's like a pretty normal thing. It tells me that you have a pulse. It tells me that you care. It's not always a bad thing having some nerves, having a little anxiety about something. It oftentimes causes us to jump into action and prepare and do the things that we need to for this important thing. But sometimes that can cause stress, extreme anxiety, and when we feel these things, we oftentimes don't do our best, no matter what we're talking about. In this case, we're talking about tests, but if you are experiencing a tremendous amount of stress or anxiety, you're probably going to struggle in many facets of life. But for this video, we're going to focus on testing anxiety. So if you are somebody that often underperforms on tests because maybe you're feeling so nervous and stressed out that all of the information that you study just seems to be gone, this video might be for you. So I'm going to try and move through it kind of quickly. But I have about 10 different suggestions, things that you can try, things that you can look at that might help you feel less anxious come testing day. All right. Not saying all 10 will work for you. I'm not saying all 10 will apply to you, but these are 10 things that could help most kids. Take a look at the list and see which ones you think might apply to you. And these aren't necessarily in any order. Okay. Number one is sleep. Guys, it starts with sleep. Are we getting enough of it? Are we getting enough sleep at night? Our bodies are going to be better functioning the next day if we have had proper sleep, proper rest. That's important. Some kids, they spend all night studying, sacrificing sleep. That's one approach. But I know for me as a learner, there's striking a balance between getting enough studying and also getting enough good, solid rest was key for me to perform better the next day, whether it be in the classroom or on the field. All right. Number two, breakfast. We got to think about these things, guys. If you're rushing out of the house and you're flying out of the house trying to get to school on time and you barely ate anything or grabbed something real quick to go, that's probably not going to sustain you throughout the period of the day. Breakfast is an important meal. Most of us have heard that. You may have a test at 10:30, 11 o'clock, just before lunch, and if you haven't eaten anything since dinner the night before, that's no good, right? So we need to get a good breakfast and definitely get hydrated with some good water. That's going to help, all right? It's like a car, all right? If you don't put oil in the car and you don't fill up the gas tank and you don't take care of it in that way, it's going to underperform, okay? Number three, be prepared. This is probably one of the most obvious things. Look, if you're experiencing a lot of anxiety and stress on test day, this might be one of the first things you should look at. Have you prepared for this test? Because the truth is, a lot of times we feel stress and anxiety about things that we're not prepared for. And that seems to me to be pretty normal. So the very first thing I would do is have an honest conversation with yourself and say, but did I actually prepare? Like, I'm feeling nervous about this. Is it because I actually didn't prepare? Is it because I tried to cram a week's worth of studying into 2 hours the night before? And if that's the case, that might be the first thing I would address, right? Study in small chunks of time over the course of a week. And I think you're probably going to feel more prepared, which in turn will make you less anxious come testing day. Next one, be positive. Okay, when you walk into the classroom, instead of reciting all of the reasons why you're going to struggle and reminding yourself of all of your past failures, be positive with yourself. Tell yourself some positive things. Remind yourself of all the reasons why you actually can do well on this test. Remind yourself of all the studying you did. Remind yourself of all the hard work you've put in the class. Remind yourself of the good sleep you got the night before and how capable you are. Be positive with yourself. Next one. When the test gets laid down in front of you, take a couple deep breaths, guys. Don't just get right started. Take a couple deep breaths, clear your mind. This might be the time where you say a couple positive affirmations, but take a couple deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, then get started. All right, bringing in some extra oxygen ain't gonna hurt nobody. All right, so do that, guys. You might like that idea. Number 6, what do I have here? Oh, just get started. Now, when I say that, I know I just literally said don't just get started and breathe first. But what I mean here when I say just get started is a lot of times a test gets put in front of you, right? And the first thing you do, what is it? You thumb through the test. You look at, oh my goodness, there's 20 pages. I'm never going to finish this. You look through, oh, look at this problem. I didn't study this. I'm not going to be able to do this. Or, I was hoping this wasn't going to be on the test because I really wasn't sure. I was unsure about it. And here it is. And now I'm going to do poorly, right? And you're just psyching yourself out. And that's not going to be helpful, right? So quit thumbing through the pages and stressing yourself out about how long it is or how hard you think it's going to be. Take your deep breaths and just get started. If you come across a hard question, skip it, right? Skip it and come back to it. Get some momentum with some questions that you think you can do well on, all right? Number 7, slow it down. Slow it down and read carefully. Sometimes when we get nervous, we start speeding up and we start flying through things, right? And I think we should do the opposite. Slow it down, read carefully, read it again, check your work, stop periodically throughout the test to take a couple deep breaths and remind yourself of some positive things. So slow it down. Number 8, keep an eye on the clock. This is a good one. If you're like me, I can think of times where, like on a math test, I'll spend 20 minutes on one problem. And it's like, yeah, I'm working hard on that problem, trying to solve it, right? But now I've only left myself 10, 20 minutes for the remaining 15 problems. And that will cause stress. And then I'm going to start feeling like I need to speed through the test. And then I'm going to get more anxious and I'm going to get careless and I'm going to make mistakes. So keep an eye on the clock, know how much time you have, and periodically throughout the test, glance up at the clock. Make sure you have an awareness of how much time you have left. Number 9, ignore the others in the room. This is a hard one. It's hard to do this, but it is important. It doesn't matter what your neighbor's doing. It doesn't matter what the person in front of you, it doesn't matter how quickly they got done with their test or what number of the problem they're on or how much it looks like they've written compared to how much it looks like you've written. None of that stuff matters. You need to operate like you're in a bubble and like the only thing that matters is your test and that you're the only one in the room. All right? We can really experience a lot of unnecessary stress and pressure when we start looking around and comparing ourselves to other people. So let's try to avoid that. And the last thing that I came up with, number 10, was have the right perspective, right? Now, what I mean by that is what is this assignment? Is it a 10-point quiz or is it a 100-point test? Is it a final exam worth 20% of your grade? These things matter, okay? These things matter. You should be able to feel a little bit less stressed about a 10-point mini quiz, right? So you need to be able to put it in perspective, have an awareness of what these things are worth and how much it's going to impact your grade. And I think that could be helpful. That could be helpful in terms of how much you prepare, but how much you stress out about the test and how anxious you might get if for some reason you come across a problem that doesn't matter. And also, like if there's 100 questions, right, you can get essentially 20 questions wrong and still get an 80. So having an awareness of how many questions and how much it's worth and all that stuff could really help. There it is, guys. 10 tips for you to experience hopefully less anxiety when it comes to testing. I hope this was helpful. If you have any other ideas or things that help you, I'd love to hear about them. Put them in the comments so that other kids could benefit from it. But until then, let's go, guys. Fourth quarter. I'm hoping it's a good one. Stay motivated.